So my husband and we go on this Viking River cruise, right? And everyone talks about this Viking River cruise. It's supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to be spectacular and all of this. But anyway, we went to the Viking River cruise in Portugal and going up the Douro River. And as far as the cruise itself, if you're wondering, well, you're going to talk about the cruise? Well, not that much. What I'm going to say is we had a lot of tours. It was really busy. Portugal's a beautiful city. That's all great. But in the cruise, after a busy day, you come back and you're sitting at the lounge and you have someone playing the piano. It's just this music. It's just kind of permeates the air and it's just so pleasant. You just sit there and you're like, oh, and it's relaxing. Well, the gentleman behind the piano is a gentleman by the name of Luis Moraes. And he just plays and he smiles and he's having a good time and he's just playing. Well, my husband is a singer, so he goes up there and when Luis plays a song that he knows, he starts singing. And so this started. And every evening, we have a piano sing-along. Luis is playing, Brad's singing, I'm dancing, we're having a great time. And as the days go on, for whatever reason, Luis would dedicate songs to myself and my husband, like, okay, the next song is dedicated to this lovely couple. And we're like, me and Brad are like, what? And he dedicated 4 songs to us. It was just surreal. We were having a great time. And then one day, this is, it's off the topic, but it's on topic. Luis is playing, and there's this other woman on the boat. She's just an interesting woman. And while Luis plays, after Luis plays, she pulls out a coin, a €1 coin, and she puts it on his piano. And she goes, this is for playing the song that I like. Every time you play a song I like, you get €1. Okay. I'm there and I give my husband this look like, couldn't believe it. I was offended. There's Luis, gracious as a gentleman. He goes, thank you so much, ma'am, for your generosity. Thank you. And he takes the euro and, puts it in his pocket. And he never once showed any sign that that was inappropriate or whatever. And I'm offended for him. And then I'm going, is that an offensive act? I didn't know. Funny story. We're done with the cruise. Of course, we're done. Like Luis, it was wonderful. If you're ever in St. Louis, come visit us. Hugs, all of that. I really missed, Luis and, of course, our tour guide. Anyway, we leave, we come home, and of all the things in the cruise, wonderful places we saw, everything, I kept going and my husband going, I'm telling you, that €1 thing is offensive. I can't believe Luis was okay with it. Was he not offended? Of all the things, that was my soapbox. He just kept going. Well, as the story would have it, Luis said he could come visit us. He was making a tour of the United States. He was actually going to go down to New Orleans, and he thought he'd stop in St. Louis before he went to New Orleans. Unfortunately, his plans to New Orleans didn't work out. Don't know what happened. But so Luis came to our home here in St. Louis, and we took him, we went to the melting pot. And so here we are at the melting pot having dinner. And this is conversation. Me, first question, Luis, you have to tell me. You have to tell me. On our cruise, there was a woman who slipped you €1, and Luis goes, every time you play a song that you want, and I was like, oh my God. And Luis goes, oh my God. So it was just funny because for a while I was like, wait a minute, is this normal? Well, it wasn't normal, and Luis told us it wasn't, so it's good. Okay, fine. So we talked about that. We were shooting the breeze. It's funny. We just talked about the politics of the Viking River Cruise, the corporate structure of the company, how they worked. Luis talked about how the reviews, like literally, like I could write a review about someone says, oh, this person was horrible, and then they get fired. That's just wrong. So we were talking about that. It was so funny. Luis was like, I wish I could record this conversation. People at Viking need to hear it. But, that happened. Well, then it's funny. I'm talking to Luis, and I said, so Luis, so tell me about yourself, so I know you have a girlfriend, so what's the deal? So he tells me that he's twice divorced. His second divorce, like he was pretty heartbroken by it. And he has a 13-year-old daughter. And, and then he laughs about, he's like, I am a sailor. I have a girl in every port. And he looks at me, he goes, I am a sinner. I can't help it. And it's just the way Luis talks. It's just so funny. And we're just shooting the breeze. Now, the other thing with Luis is he's just the penultimate gentleman. I mean, his please, thank yous, every single thing, he's like, I thank you. I thank you. And then it's like, may I? I thank you. I didn't know. I mean, it was just so cute and just adorable. And with his Portuguese accent, it was just like, wow, I loved it. So there we are. We went up to the arch. He didn't know we could actually go into the arch. So we took Luis up the arch. And then we get on the riverboat cruise. And we decide, I was like, Luis, we should call the tour guide person. I'd mentioned his name, but, I didn't get his permission. So anyways, so here we're calling him, and he's like, what? I said, I'm with Luis. He goes, where? And he's like, what is going on? It was so funny, Luis. We were all laughing, and we had a great time. And then we took Luis to, I said, well, he's in America. He should try a good donut. Because I remember my first time having a donut in America. That was an experience. So I wanted Luis to have that experience. Of course, we got him fresh Southside donuts. Of course, we took him to Ted Drew's frozen custard. It's like your St. Louis staple. It's great. But here's the thing I learned with Luis's visit here. We were tired and stuff, and Luis would be like, oh, I need to stop for a coffee shop. And it's interesting. We don't have a coffee shop culture. Yeah, we have Starbucks. But when you're really looking for a Starbucks, it's hard to find, and then you end up at a Breadco, and that's it. We don't have that culture. And I was like, wow, this is kind of neat. I kind of like that European coffee shop, chill, and have a hot chocolate culture. That was something I learned about. The other thing is, there's Luis. He came, he's at our home, and he's playing the piano. It's just, everything's so great. And then I sit there and I think, and I told my husband, I said, Luis is just, he's Portuguese. But at the end of the day, he's just another man. I mean, he's divorced. He's just looking for love. And, he's looking for a relationship. And he's just trying to experience life and try to be happy, with his 13-year-old daughter, and just kind of living a life like anyone else would. And for those couple of days Luis was here visiting, somehow he made the world a little bit smaller. Interesting, we go to the speaker series, and recently the speaker was Rick Steves, I think. He's apparently this huge European travel guide. He was great speaker. He talked about travel as a political act. Basically, his theme is when you travel, you meet people, you really get to know people, and then the humanity comes out, and the world becomes smaller when you accept other cultures and other people. Then that's what it's all about, as opposed to dividing ourselves. So it's travel as a political act. And here's Luis in our home, and I'm looking at Brad, and I'm going, Brad, this is travel as a political act. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. So that's the story. And Luis played the piano for us a little bit, and we had an absolute great time. And so I'd recommend all of you to travel, meet people, and really accept them as you would your own friends, your family, And for Luis, for coming here and visiting me and Brad, being in our home, for trusting us, and all of that, I want to say in true Portuguese English fashion, I thank you. So that's all I have for today. So hope you guys like this one, and we'll talk soon. Bye.